Hi everyone. Oh my goodness, I'm actually super nervous about talking about this because it's a really personal experience of mine, but I just hope that I can educate other women out there, and maybe even men, if it's something that they're interested in and they want to know about what us women actually go through. And I'm not standing here today to say you should do this, you shouldn't do that, this is a good contraception, I don't recommend you take this. Some women absolutely love their contraception and swear by it, and others, like me, just their body just doesn't tolerate any. I'll go kind of from the beginning. So I had an implant a few years ago, perfect. I had no periods for about 3 years, and then I started getting, constant menstrual cycle. I can't even talk. See, I'm so nervous. And then the implant worked really well for me, and I don't know why, but my body just didn't want to tolerate the hormones anymore. It wasn't working as effectively or in the way that I wanted it to, or how I was used to it working. So I had to take pills on top of the implant to try and stop the bleeding. So then the gynecologist was like, Meg, I think you should get the Mirena coil. I think it would be perfect for you. It will stop your periods. It'll be great. Most painful experience of my life, may I add, and just the concept of having something in my uterus didn't really float my boat. So this, bearing in mind, this all kind of happened in a 1 year time frame. So once I got the coil, I had to go on the pill and just on top to try and I can't talk when I'm nervous. Okay, we'll try that again. As you can see, I'm not a vlogger, so I don't go, oh, I'll edit that, cut that out. I'm just going to add in all my slip-ups, because it's quite funny, actually, I think. So I went on the pill on top whilst taking the Mirena for about the first month, and all seemed okay. Then, about 3 months in, I had the worst acne ever. I've got scars. You can't see, I've got makeup on, so I'm hiding it. Which I'm actually really self-conscious about, because I never had bad skin, because when I was really young I was on the combined pill. I'm not talking about back then, because so the implant and the coil release a similar hormone, maybe slightly different, both progesterone. I find it really difficult to say that word. But unlike the implant is in your systemic circulation, being that it's in your arm, and then obviously the coil's in your uterus. So I did go on treatment for my acne. I didn't stick it out because actually it made my eczema worse. There's just so sensitive, such a sensitive Sally. But actually the worst thing for me on the coil was my hair loss. That really upset me. It even got to the point where I would literally grab my hair and just chunks of it were coming out, and I remember just crying to my mum and being like, oh my god, it's actually making me a bit emotional. Oh, sorry. I was really upset because my hair is like me. And my brother came over in the summer and he said, oh my god, Meg, like, what's happened to your hair? Your hair's like so thin. And it really upset me because I've always had this lion mane, like everyone's always been like, Meg's got the crazy hair, and it's kind of what I'm known for, so it really upset me. And then the other side effect of the coil for me was the mood swings. I would wake up so angry. I'd go downstairs. I'm normally like a bubbly and quite a positive person. We all have our negative moments, and I'd be like, Mum, I am angry. Like, I'd wake up and I'd be crazy cravings that would wake me up at like 2-3 in the morning, and I'd be like, I need to eat this. If I don't know what's going to happen. It was such a horrible feeling, and I'm always one that's got really good willpower, really good determination, and this just crumpled me. Like, I just could not focus. Not to mention, after all this going on, the doctor was like, stick it out, your body will adjust to it. And I thought, I can't. This is affecting my well-being so much. And I know some girls that swear by the Mirena, and just for me it just did not work. So then I went to the doctor who put the coil in with my best friend, and she couldn't find the strings. And I remember like almost hitting the roof and crying, and my best friend was so upset and crying with me because I was in agony and I just wanted this thing out. It was just destroying me. And I never cry, and my friend had never seen me cry, so she was extremely upset as well. It's just, I think the effect that it had on my body in such a small amount of time, all I wanted was to get it out, and the fact that this experience was so prolonged to get it removed, it really upset me. So I went to the specialist, and he managed to get it out under 2 minutes. He was so close to having to give me a general anaesthetic because it was a very tricky one to try and remove, and just the prospect of having to go through that again, I wouldn't, but everybody has a different experience. Then up until recently I was on the mini pill for a few months. I just want to try and see contraceptions that I can tolerate. I wouldn't ever do the combined pill again because it made me extremely emotional, and my cravings were really bad, and I didn't want to get any internal devices. I started getting kind of similar side effects, but they were nowhere near as bad as the Mirena. My hair was slightly thinner, and my acne came back, and my mood swings, but my body finally started to adjust to it. But then it kind of dawned on me, like, why am I on contraception? I don't actually need to be on it. Like, and even my uni friends said to me, they know who they are, I wonder if they're going to be watching this, and they said, Meg, just come off of contraception. Like, why are you on it? You don't need to be on it. Just stop. And I thought, do you know what, you're right. And my mum even said to me a while back that she could not tolerate any hormones. She just couldn't. And some of you have suggested on my Instagram as well that I try the copper coil, and I would have hands down tried the copper coil over the Mirena if I knew how it was going to affect me, but the gynecologist recommended that for heavy bleeding, because apparently the copper gives you heavy bleeding. But yes, apart from like femidoms and things like that, the copper coil is the only form of non-hormonal contraception. But with my whole experience, I wouldn't be able to put myself through that again. I honestly wouldn't. It was just way too traumatic for me. This brings me on to muscle building with contraceptive hormones, because there is more and more information being released about how contraception affects your muscle building capacity as a female weightlifter. Now, this is only going to be specific to those of you that are interested in this. So to keep this section a little shorter, because this story is so long, but I don't even care. Do you ever just like look at something and you forget what you're talking about? Oh my god, let me start this one again. I'm so sorry. I really need to work on my vlogging skills. As a female weightlifter, amateur, I just want to quickly discuss also why I've come off of hormones, because of how it affects me with my muscle building capacities. My neighbour's just looking at me like, what is she doing in the window? Hey girl. So bearing in mind, as I just said, the copper IUD is the only form of non-hormonal contraception. Now, during our cycle as a female, when we ovulate, we have a surge of testosterone within our system. Now, when you take synthetic hormones, during your surge of testosterone when you ovulate, that actually gets cut by 50% when you take synthetic hormones. 50% reduction in testosterone, which is what helps build muscle. So now this is all making complete sense to me. So why am I so weak? Why is it taking me 3 or 4 years to build even like maybe 1.5 inches on my biceps? Like, what am I doing wrong? But it makes complete sense, because if you give a guy testosterone, you always hear guys joking in the gym like, how much test do you want me? Like, or he's got test rage. But it makes complete sense, because obviously we're reducing our body's natural release of testosterone by half. So that's going to reduce our muscle building by half. I'm not going to get into about when you should train during your cycle and all that kind of stuff, when you're insulin sensitive, when you're not. That's all completely off topic. But my main thing is just why I've decided to come off of contraception. I just can't deal with it. Obviously, I'm not advocating for any of you to make certain decisions. I'm just informing you of my journey and my experiences, in the hope that there's some of you out there that might also be struggling in a similar situation. Just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of us in the same boat, honestly. I will do an update in due course about my hair and my skin and my mood and how I'm feeling about being hormone free. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It was extremely personal for me to do. And I hope I've helped some of you out. I've now got to go and attend a meeting, and then I've got a hair consultation, but Mr. Bob just wanted to say hello. He's such a little cutie pie. I am a bit of a crazy cat lady, but it's allowed, because animals are just wonderful and they make you feel so much better.